James Pendleton from the Toffee Blues podcast. Obviously, Everton, we know what's happened the last 2 seasons back to back. They've struggled to stay in the Premier League, but they have. Sean Dyche, they're now full-time, and they've made their first signing. James, what do you make of Ashley Young coming in? Obviously brings in a lot of experience, and I thought it was excellent last season for Aston Villa. I'm actually surprised that Unai Emery decided to let him go. What have you made of the first one?
Yeah, I think overall I'm a fan of the signing. I think while it's not ideal that Everton are looking in the market for a 38-year-old sort of winger come fullback, that's not ideal. But I think in the circumstances, you're bringing in a leader, you're bringing in someone who, as you say, played well last season. He reckons he's as fit as he's ever been. And there's a reason why he stayed around at the top level for, sort of best part of 2 decades now. So I'm a fan of the move. I say in the circumstances, it's the sort of thing I think is clever from Everton. We need leaders in the squad. We need depth. We need players who can play in different positions. So, as I say, notwithstanding the actual situation that we're in, I think it's a decent move and not a bad start to the window for us.
And James, you're also linked with Anthony Elanga from Manchester United. Is that inspiring for you? Do you fancy that one?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy with Anthony Elanga. I think the more young players we get into this team, the more players we can blood into it, and the more assets we can get on the books, the better. I think James Garner came from United last season, and while he spent time out injured, he was super impressive when he did play. And I think signing another player who's around the same age, who's also got some experience in men's football, is really important for us. He didn't play a lot last season, so I think it's a good time to shop for him when he's in a bit of a dip in value. But I think he looks like a bit of a diamond in the rough, and I'd be very happy if he were to spend, a sort of decent enough fee on him. Obviously, we don't want to go too overboard, but I think the numbers that are being suggested, I think that does work for me. So I'd be interested in that for sure.
Come on, James, stop it. You ain't going to be happy with these. I know you already. You're not going to be happy. Deep down, I mean, this is an Everton that spend big money on good players, and you've done so for the last 5 or 6 seasons. Ashley Young coming in at 38 is a good one. It's solid, but it's not enough. And Elanga's, he's okay. I mean, he's clearly fallen out of favour with Manchester United. Sometimes doesn't even make the squad. This isn't good enough for Everton, is it?
In the bigger picture, no, for sure. But I just think, you got to be realistic about where we are right now. And we're not in that situation where we can spend loads of money. And, the best times I've had watching Everton in my life have been when we haven't spent a lot of money.
That's true.
Excessive unit, and, the money has been the root to all evil, really, since it's come in for us. So, no, I think I'm happy if we go back to making smarter moves, cheaper moves, not risking it all on players who are costing 30, 35, 40 million quid. I get your point, and obviously, as I say, someone like Ashley Young, he doesn't inspire me, but I think you've got to be realistic about where we are right now. We're not going to get to there if we try and rush it like we have done. We've got to take smaller steps, and these are the kind of moves that I think Everton should be making right now.
James, can I ask you a question? Please be totally honest with me. Are you a glass half full kind of guy? Are you just positioning this as good news? Because, look, from the outside looking in, Elanga and Ashley Young, it does feel fairly underwhelming. And then when you think about what Everton have been like for the last couple of years, surviving the last day of the season by a Rizzler paper, you need more than this, don't you? I thought that you were going to be a little bit more furious. I thought you were going to be sort of demanding more from your board, from Sean Dyche. The fact that you kind of seem okay with this has surprised me a touch.
Well, I think the main reason is because Everton have made their best signing of 2023, and that was bringing in Sean Dyche. He is the reason why maybe I have teetered over to being a glass half full kind of guy. Look, there are different options that Everton are getting linked up, which aren't as good, but it doesn't seem like any of them are anywhere near close to being done. And if they were, I would sort of say that I don't think that is a good move for us. But I think Elanga's a decent player. I think someone can play on the right, on the left, especially if Damari Gray moves on and he comes in for a smaller fee. I think that's good business. I say he's younger, he's got a higher ceiling than someone like Gray, for example. And Young, as I say, I mean, it's not, he's not someone I'm sort of bouncing off the ceiling about, or someone I was dead excited to get the announcement video out for, or anything like that. I kind of just pass it off when it happens. But whereas normally, obviously, you're really excited when these things happen. But I think it's more about just being realistic. And as I say, I think Everton's best signing this year was bringing in the manager who can turn water into a decent enough wine, and hopefully that will keep us above board. And then we go into the new stage, and maybe then we can talk about bringing in players who are going to have you on tenterhooks waiting for them to be announced.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans, especially us fans, we almost discount the amount of money it costs to build these stadiums. And I remember when Arsenal built the Emirates, and that was it really. They didn't spend any money for a few years, and you kind of feel like Sean Dyche is going to have to do magic tricks with this squad whilst the funds do start to come back. Tomari Gray's an interesting one. When he came over from Germany, when he was on loan out there, you almost felt like there was something there, didn't you? You felt like when he came on, he started scoring goals and making good runs, and him being let go is an interesting one. But the one I do want to talk about is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Because we've seen a player that there was a time, and people might laugh at this, when some was saying he should be up front instead of Harry Kane for England. That's the kind of impact he was having. We haven't seen anything from him. He's been injured. I saw a video from him recently saying, I've just had to work on my diet and a few things as well. He needs a good season, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we're talking about someone who today, obviously been in the news a lot. Dele Alli's had a lot of issues and obviously hasn't been playing a lot of football. And Calvert-Lewin, in terms of someone who's kind of gone from here to there very, very quickly, is another one, obviously for very different reasons. But the injuries of these last 2 years have absolutely ruined him. It's been really tough to watch, and it's been a massive shame for us because we still have to rely on him. Even though, he plays 2 games, 2.5 games, 3 games, and he's gone for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time. I'd say he definitely needs a good year. I think if this is another season where we're talking 15, 16 games, half of them off the bench, half of them going off after an hour, then that's going to be a real worry for him, because you're starting to think, is this, just a real injury hell, or is this his career kind of falling away by the wayside? It'd be a massive shame, but I think if Everton do the right thing this summer, get someone in who can replace him, we can ease him in, and, I'd like to think by sort of January time, if we have someone who can lead that line while he's not there, we can ease him in. He can play 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. He can start the odd game. He can then get fitter again, and maybe he can get back to those heights of playing for England. But yeah, you're right. That does seem an absolute light year away. Whereas 2-3 years ago, I think he was good value for being in the England squad. I'm not sure he should ever have played ahead of Harry Kane. He's never scored a goal outside the area, I don't think, for Everton. So he's not exactly an able sort of replacement for him. But yeah, when he was at the peak of his powers, he was really, really good for us. And he was never ever injured before the start of, not last season now, but the season before when Rafa Benitez was here. He was never ever injured, and then yeah, it all came crumbling down for him, which is really sad. But if Everton do the right thing, get a striker in, then he's not someone I'm going to worry about too much anymore, I don't think, and just kind of let him do his thing, and hopefully we get to see the real Calvert-Lewin one day.
Yeah, one day. James, final one. You mentioned at the top there, Dele Alli. Obviously, look, he's now back with Everton. He's going to start pre-season training. He sat down with Gary Neville. I'm sure you've watched the interview. Very emotional, very heartbreaking. Now that almost the shackles have come off and he's getting the help needed, do you feel like there is a place for Dele Alli at Everton Football Club? Do you feel like he can make the impact that, I'm guessing, when he signed from Spurs, that you all thought he could do?
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is, first and foremost, you say it's him getting better is definitely the main thing, and him just being happy is by far the most important. I'm really not too fussed about the pitch so long as that happens. But if that happens and he can get back to playing football, then absolutely, because this Everton squad is threadbare. It's a mishmash. It's got it's lacking quality in plenty of areas, and I think Dele is someone who we've all seen in the Premier League over the last half a decade. He's one of those names who you hear his name spoken and you just think about all the goals he scored for Tottenham, what he's done for England. He was absolutely fantastic, and yeah, I really do think there is, because I think that position on the pitch for Everton above anything else is kind of really up for grabs. A player who can be a bit of a box crasher, who can score goals from kind of anything. He played up front for a brief period last pre-season, and he showed good signs there, but then obviously Frank Lampard shipped him out. He blamed, again, laziness or words to that effect, which he spoke about in the interview today, saying Mourinho suggested that. But if the shackles come off, absolutely, if you can let the football kind of flow and get back fit, Sean Dyche is a really good manager for dealing with these sorts of things. And so long as he gives back what he gets off the club, then yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I'd be really pleased to see him playing off of a Calvert-Lewin or another striker. I think that'd be perfect for him. So I'm sure he knows there's no pressure from Everton fans. We're just really pleased to see him sort of speaking out and getting that all off his chest. But yeah, I think this could be a player who's got a lot of value to give to Everton, and I really do hope, and I think a lot of neutrals probably hope now they can see that from him.
Yeah, indeed. James, really appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you very much, James Pendleton there from the Toffee Blues podcast. Cheers, James. Appreciate it. Definitely a glass half full, man.
Yes, he's very optimistic, man.
And Elanga thing, yeah, he's definitely. But they've been through so much, Everton fans. You can understand why. You know, they obviously got excited with the really big signings, the James Rodriguez. Do you know what I mean? The real big ones that have come to the club. And they've probably thought, you know what, we've been burnt. I don't want to get burnt again.
Yeah, but Addy, that's not a strategy that works. I don't understand that. I was filming earlier this week with Flav. You know Flav from the Fighting Cock podcast, Tottenham fan, right?
Yep.
And I was talking to him about Ange Postecoglou, and I was saying that I feel like Ange Postecoglou is slightly uninspiring. He went, look, we've tried the proven managers, we've tried the brilliant managers, we've tried the glamorous managers. We've had Mourinho, the serial trophy winner. We've had Antonio Conte, the serial trophy winner. I said, yeah, but that strategy does work. Don't stop employing good managers because you've been burnt a bit. And I would say the same about signing big names. You know, just because James Rodriguez burnt you a little bit, doesn't mean that you don't sign good proven footballers.
You know what the problem is? Every big signing recently is burnt. You know, it's not just one or two, it's 20.
Yeah, that's
20. I saw a list of Everton signings, the big ones, and the only one that's kind of worked would be Iwobi. Kind of. And yeah, there's still, I feel there's question marks.
They overpaid for Iwobi as well. It was expensive, wasn't it?
Big time.